Okay. Hello, everyone. We were very ready to record. I planned this out meticulously. This is definitely not off the cuff. When I say we, I have Big Daddy Aero for all y'all.
That he's ever won any of the debates he claimed that he did.
Okay.
So like, even if you are saying all
Okay,
the
so
other no, stop saying okay.
let me speak because some
shut the
people
fuck
here
up.
will
No,
agree
bitch.
that I won
You
the
can
debate.
talk when I'm
Some
done.
people will
Fucking
agree that I won
talking.
the debate.
Dragon.
Bitch! Aero, would you like to say hi to everyone?
It's me, everybody. They call me Big Daddy Aero because I am, in fact, 7'10".
Yes. For those of you that don't know, this man is 7'10". He's one of the greats. And today we wanted to go over Gojo versus Sukuna. And I think Aero feels pretty passionately about this. And as some of you may know, I do love Aero's passion. So I decided he needed to be here for this, so you guys could witness our passion together. So, first and foremost, to break this off early for you guys, Gojo wins. So, let's just start that. Let's start right there.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
So, Aero, how do you feel, like, just to start nice and easy, how do you feel about the speed part of this? Because a lot of people feel Sukuna's pretty quick with it.
I don't really feel like speed is relevant. That's sort of like the biggest thing about a video like this of Gojo versus Sukuna. Like, what the fuck does Sukuna do? Right? Like, even if he was to like run up on him and catch Sukuna and catch Gojo by surprise, which he doesn't do, but let's say that he did, and the cursed energy were to try and attack him, right? How does it get past the infinity,
Yep.
right? Like, how does he do that thing where he grabs like, oh yeah, he's so big and he's so strong and he can use his fire like curse techniques, but how did any of those get past the infinite? You know?
Yep. And that was something I was gonna bring up one way or the other. So one big point I see a lot of people talk about is that Sukuna has like some crazy speed feats, perception blitzing, and all that. Number one, Gojo has better feats with perception blitzing and blatantly teleporting. So there's that. But the speed doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how fast you get to Gojo. You're getting to your L faster, realistically. Because getting through that barrier requires more than just like, even if you say Sukuna's MFTL, it's not fast enough to get through the physics manipulation of the infinity barrier. It's a non-factor, right? There's another piece to this as well. How do you, Mr. Aero, how do you feel about the domain battle? Because that's another big part to this, and I personally think that the domain battle, again, is in Gojo's favor, for sure.
I also agree with that. I do believe that it is impressive, you know what I mean, for Sukuna to be able to paint his domain on the surface level, right? But I do think fundamentally that by virtue of his passive technique and his domain, Gojo just wins. Like, because we see, for example, when you have Dagon's curse technique, and we know that curse techniques manifest on top of you. There's actually an instance where Naobito is able to use his simple domain, the falling cherry blossoms, to slice a fish in half as it manifested on top of him. So we know that it is possible to react to attacks within the domain, except for Gojo's, right? Where Gojo just overloads your senses with infinite information and you can't move, right?
Yep.
Gojo's is the only one of that sort that just kind of like completely immobilizes you, and it's impossible to do anything.
Yeah. The unique aspect here obviously being that it's not like a physical attack. So what we saw in like Jogo's was like, obviously he like creates a volcano mountain thing to like just shoot at Gojo.
Yeah.
But Gojo's domain, on the other hand, is more, it's like the worst kind of genjutsu you could possibly imagine. And it's not about reacting to it. It's not like being durable enough to tank it. It's just overloading your brain. As I've explained in other videos, I mean, imagine all the things you do like passively just breathing right now while you're listening to this, you're able to hear us because your brain's not stalled out trying to infinitely process something from a measurable void. So you would definitely die in this, especially as a normal person. If your brain works normally, Gojo uses his immeasurable void in the Shibuya incident to basically stall everyone, and he can't use it for more than, I think it was 0.02 seconds without comatosing people and potentially killing them. And this is very important because even Sukuna, he's, as far as we can tell, the brain he has to work with is Yuji's. If Yuji is not like some infinite mental processing, infinite reaction speed type shit, if he's not on that type beat, like, no, it doesn't matter. Further to this, we know that you can have domain battles. We see this with like Megami, opening his domain inside of Dagon's and negating like the insta guaranteed hits. So in this case, if they were to have a domain battle, I think it's more likely that Gojo wins this for a few reasons, but one of the big ones is even if they're like equal, like if you want to wank Sukuna and say he's equal to Gojo in power, potency, and like amounts of, I don't know, Black Air Force energy, it doesn't it doesn't even matter because you have Gojo who, I mean, it's effectively endless cursed energy because he's constantly refreshing himself, and it's on top of the 6 eyes, which allows him to use cursed techniques, at an infinitesimally or how do I say that right? At a cost to him that's like
an impossibly efficient, like the most efficient cursed energy to cursed technique ratio possible.
Yeah. So, I mean, Gojo presumably could just stay in that domain battle for like days. Eventually Sukuna tires out. I know he was, big back in his day, back in the golden age, get buckets age of like Jujutsu sorcery, but bro, we got big Gojo right now. So, that's all I'm saying about that. So, domain battle, definitely Sukuna, number one, loses that, and if he were to be hit by domain, I don't think there's an argument to say that he can handle that because it's not even like a physical attack. It doesn't matter how durable he is, like we said. And then I think as far as abilities, let's just say hypothetically somehow Sukuna gets the first hit off. He uses like cleave or dismantle, tries to like cut Gojo in half. I actually don't think that gets through his barrier. How do you feel about that, Aero?
Yeah, I agree. Like, best case scenario, Sukuna gets his domain off first. It still isn't enough to beat Gojo, right? And then, like you said, it goes into a domain battle where they stalemate and Gojo probably wins because of his constantly refreshing energy. Or, Gojo gets his domain off first and Sukuna's like dead. Sukuna can't process anything. He's done. Like, there's really nothing that Sukuna, there's no way for him to get past the infinity.
Yep. And then I guess the last thing we would really even need to look at here is how Gojo kills Sukuna. I mean, even outside the domain, which would definitely kill him, there's Hollow Purple, which would be kind of a GG. Hollow Purple being existence erasure. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, is there any argument to be had, Aero, that like he can survive getting hit by Hollow Purple?
Not really. Like, the best you could say is that, yeah, there's really nothing that, like, well, you could probably say that because Hanami was able to survive getting hit by it, he might be able to get hit and be able to move himself out of the way and regenerate fast enough. That's really the only thing that you can say. But then once again, it comes down to, what is Sukuna gonna do? Like, the only time we've ever seen Gojo really struggle in a fight is when there was a weapon used to nullify his curse technique, right? Like, the only way that someone was able to gain a win con over Gojo was to make it so he can't use the infinity. Like, there's really, and that was before he even had access to his domain expansion, or even that he had to just invented Hollow Purple. Like, it was already that early in his development, and the only way to beat him was using that. And then he became even more powerful. Like, it doesn't really there's really nothing that you can say. Like, even Gege says Gojo was meant to be the pinnacle of power within the verse, right? Like, he's the very tippity top.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense for he's supposed to be like the very ceiling. Like, it doesn't make any sense for there to be someone stronger than him if he's the strongest that there is.
Yeah, and there are people who try to use the argument that, like, you know, it's not always about power. You know, there's hacks and there's, you know, abilities that, you know, kind of negate that. Yeah, that's funny that you would bring that up, actually, because Gojo has the best hacks in the verse, like, right. Hands down. So, like, it was just, I honestly thought, like, when I was reading that Gege wanted a way to, like, somehow put Gojo in danger. And that's why there's a cursed tool with, you know, somebody who's, you know, a pro assassin. Like, if it was anyone else and they didn't have what Toji had, that inverted spear of heaven, I'm pretty sure just Gojo negs. Like, that whole thing wouldn't have even been an arc. Gojo wouldn't have gotten great with reverse curse technique. It'd have been GG pretty quick. And Sukuna has nothing similar to that. As far as we can tell, his that, like, mystery curse technique, it might fall in line with this theory that a lot of people have. So the real Sukuna, or quote unquote real Sukuna in, like, mythology, he was a 4-armed warrior, 2 swords, and a bow and arrow, right? Obviously, Dismantle and Cleave are the 2 swords, and, you know, Sukuna does use, like, this weird bow and arrow stance when he torches Maharaga and Jogo. Now, as far as what this does, I mean, it doesn't seem to have, like, I mean, there's no argument for it having, like, Dura negation or getting past Gojo's infinity for any reason, just because we don't have statements on it, nothing like that. So there's nothing Sukuna can do here. I mean, there's weird statements that, like, you know, Jujutsu sorcery was at its height during the Golden Age when they were, you know, sharpening their skills to fight Sukuna. But I mean, we don't have any real reference point, and we don't see anything that indicates there's anyone who's ever even existed stronger than Gojo. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Sukuna's from the Golden Age, if he ran all the gold out of their pockets. None of that matters.
Yeah.
In this case, Gojo takes it. I'm sorry. Like, I don't make the rules.
Yeah, and to address that, like, they also mentioned the guidebook where it stated that Gojo is meant to be the pinnacle of power in the verse. That's the same guidebook that mentions, like, Prime Sukuna. So this is all in the same, like, interview, the same, like, session where Gege has Prime Sukuna in their mind, and they're still. So even if someone were to say, like, Prime Sukuna at his strongest, that's Sukuna in the Golden Age, you know, and Gojo is said to be the pinnacle of power and not that Prime Sukuna. So it's impossible to say that those Jujutsu sorcerers back in the day who couldn't beat Prime Sukuna would be stronger than Prime. They would be stronger than Gojo, who is stronger than Prime Sukuna. Like, it's just impossible. There's really nothing that, like, we didn't write the series. Don't be mad at us. We didn't write that, you know, Gojo puts Sukuna over his lap and gives him a spanking. I didn't pen that. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you what's on the page.
Yeah. So that's not our thing. And that's another part to this. We have the feats. We have some crazy statements for Gojo as well. But obviously, the author intended for Gojo to kind of be the big dog here. Like, that's just it. Everything points to Gojo being the strongest, winning this fight, and there's not really great arguments for, like, Sukuna winning. Like, some of the other ones I've heard are, like, you know, the fingers can't be destroyed even by Gojo, but that's due to a binding vow, and a pretty powerful one at that. And Sukuna's alluded to the possibility that he could die. Like, when he fights Maharaga, he's like, yeah, if I was fighting him as, like, my 1 or 2 fingered self, I probably would have died right here. Or even when Maharaga hits him with that curse rending sword, he's like, yeah, if I was a different kind of being, if I was a cursed spirit, I'd be gone right now. So it's not that like Sukuna's invincible by any means, not even to Maharaga, who should scale under Gojo. It's just like a binding vow for that one. So even the rat arguments kind of get picked apart. So I think that's everything we needed to bother Mr. Aero with. Aero, thank you for making an appearance. I'm glad you did this without having to be bribed, of course. Did you have any final words for the nice people out there?
Oh no, yeah. Everybody make sure to subscribe, like, comment on Nolek's channel. Tell him that he should, cash up Aero after this. I really came through on this video. And tell him that you guys would like to see me again sometime. I promise he didn't have to chase me for 3 weeks to get this video done.
Yeah, none of that happened. So, yeah, that's everything for you guys. Like he said, if you like Aero, leave a like. If you think Aero's voice is sensual, tell me. I'll bring him back. It'll take some doing, but I think me and him can come to an arrangement in the back room, or the casting couch. But other than that, be safe. Take it easy, guys.
See you guys later.